Hello, everybody. And what is going on here? Make sure I'm talking, everyone. Make sure you can hear my beautiful voice on this Saturday night in 2018. Wait a minute, I've already got something wrong. It's not 2018, not anymore. Because we are going back to 1933. Here we are for a special bonus episode of the Olympians. And the Olympians are here to do something that you've never seen before. What evil lurks in 1933? They faced it. Giant snakes, been there. Crazy Nazis, killed a couple of them. Killed a couple of them more than once. But the real evil in 1933, perhaps the real terror, lurks inside their own minds. So we're going to flash back a little bit before they arrived in Borneo to, I don't know, special circumstances, a mic of bat dragons, I believe. Before that, they had quite a long airplane trip. And on that plane trip, one Dr. Greta von Krauss was able to talk to each of the Olympians. And mechanically, what this would do is that getting to know one another, as a therapist would get to know a patient, as a friend would get to know a friend, that type of confidence, that type of caring, that type of mental healing could potentially in the future give them back their sanity. Well, that's a big thing here in the old Cthulhu's. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little visit and see exactly how this first meeting went. Now, how it's going to play out here on stream is we are not going to have Dr. Greta von Krauss interview or have a session with each of them individually at once. Dr. Greta is going to ask a question, and then we are going to randomly go through the cast and answer it. Now, narratively, how this would happen is Greta would in fact be one-on-one with each of the Olympians at different times during the trip. But much like a show like Serenity or Firefly would montage and cut to each person being interviewed or questioned, we're going to do the same thing. And to make it fair on the cast, they have no idea what the questions are that are coming. Also, to make it fair on the cast, they have the option of lying. Now, before each round of questions, Greta will roll psychoanalysis or psychology roll. And each of the other Olympians will roll, whether they're choosing to lie or not, they will roll their choice of persuasion, fast talk, or charm. If they beat the degree of difficulty, which I, your keeper, will let you know who in fact succeeds, that person has the option of lying. Lying to the point where Greta will not know they're lying. Now, if they fail this roll but opt to lie anyway, they will not reveal it until after the stream, when they will be forced to tell Lindy, Wandering Silence, thanks for the follow, welcome to the party, pal. They will be forced to tell Lindy, and thus tell Dr. Greta von Krauss that they were in fact lying. Now, the audience won't know this, but you may be able to glean some of this by the way that Dr. Greta treats the Olympians from this point going forward. And at the end, when we finally circled back around through all the Olympians, we might even flash back a little further, perhaps to Bolivia? I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm here. I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to let you guys know I'm with you guys. I am with my everybody. Let's have fun. Let's watch and get inside the heads of the Olympians and see what horrors and terrors lie there. Now, if you want to help the Olympians, you can still help them in this show. Any critical successes that you award them down in the donation box, they can elect to use in this session. They can also elect to carry them over into our session proper, which is tomorrow night at 7, and it stays on until they, in fact, use them. They can bank them. But let's sit back, take ourselves back to the ugly duckling as she is passing over the Pacific Ocean. Who's at the wheel right now? We are unsure. It might be, probably, is Cato Callahan. Might be Franklin Watson. Who knows? But as we delve back in, let's remind ourselves of the characters that we're going to learn about by learning about the characters and the people that play them. Allison, Cato Callahan, she's flying. She might be crying. 1933. Tell us about her.
Hey everybody, it's Allison, and I play Caitlin Jane O'Callahan, aviatrix extraordinaire. Princess of the Skies, America's Flying Sweetheart. And she's just an open book. I mean, nothing to hide here. So I'm sure this is going to be super easy and probably fun.
Probably. Sure. We'll go. Probably. Speaking of probably, let's go over to Lauren. Lauren, you're probably going to yell at me about a role or tell me to go fuck myself at some point. Let's hope that maybe you can convert that and direct it towards your doctor instead of me tonight, as I really have nothing to do with any of what might befall you guys. It's not like I'm in charge or anything.
No.
Lauren, Sabella, 1933. Crying?
I definitely have not already told you to go fuck yourself while on mute. Yes, I'm Lauren. I'm that salty ginger on Twitter. I play Miss Sabella Marie Ives of Ives Esoteric and Antiquarian Bookstore in the beautiful Lower East Side of Manhattan. And I cannot think of a single reason that I would lie about anything. So I will not be lying or crying. I'm sure it'll all be great. And I plan on smiling the whole way through.
Smiling the whole way through. Well, that is a perfect segue to our laugh-a-minute sniper, who always has the positive attitude, who is never secretive or in the corner smoking cigarettes and slowly bleeding out, and complaining about not being able to kill certain Germans that show up boil infected. Let's go over to the class clown of the group, Stephen, Dwight, 1933. A psychotherapy session. Nothing screams Dwight more.
Oh, this is going to be rough on Dwight. I play Dwight Burke, Soldier of the World. I am on a airplane, which he is already uncomfortable, and I've already stated that he is drinking, so he will be ready. Nothing against the great Cato Callahan. It's just airplanes in general. But
Thank you.
We'll see how this goes.
That's that go get him attitude that we wanted to hear.
This starts optimistic.
No, there we go. That's as good as it gets, everybody. That go get him attitude, that revelation of being with comrades and being willing to share, which is a perfect segue to the open book of the group, which is in fact Elijah Sawyer, played by our own Strider, who's, if anything, he's been honest. He's told everybody everything they've ever asked. He's revealed more of himself. This therapy session really is a step backwards for him. But he's here anyway. He's ready to help. It's 1933. Strider, Elijah, are you ready to crack it open and see all the guys living in there?
Of course I am. I play Elijah Sawyer, a charming southern gentleman. He has built a mighty career out of lies. That is what he does. So it'll be damn near impossible for Greta to tell from question to question if he's telling the truth or lying. The real question is, can he tell the difference?
That's deep, everybody. That's pretty deep. And speaking about being in pretty deep, Lindy, Dr. Greta Von Krause, she gets to interview these lovely, forthright people.
She does.
Let us hear about it. Tell us about yourself, and we'll get ready to rock.
Why would they lie to a doctor? I don't know. It's all doctor-patient confidentiality. I mean, I don't understand why this would be an issue. But she feels pretty out of place so far because these are a bunch of, America's a very different place than Germany. And she's still kind of getting used to it. These people are, it's been like, a lot of solitary time in a lab or the hospital or, in her apartment. And now it's just like people all the time. And these people are just so forthright in the way they do things. She wants to get to know them a little better. So maybe she feels a little less uncomfortable around most of them. Yeah, she's interested to learn about her colleagues because, this is work now, apparently. She's traveling places, getting shot at. It's fine.
Learning about her colleagues? Boy, that sounds selfish. Let's see how this plays out. Okay, so what we're going to do is to recap.
They'll also get sanity eventually. It's a tuition.
Right. There's also a little caveat in here, everybody, that if any of the Olympians get stumped by a question, the first of the Olympians per question round that decides they would like to pass and get to the back of the line can do so for the small price of 5 luck. Now, if any of the Olympians decide not to pass, to take the questions head on to be true Olympians, At the end of all this, they regain 5 luck. Up to them. I am just your humble keeper, and I am here as an audience member myself. So I will be handling the mechanical aspects of it. Lindy, I will let you know who is going in which order.
Okay.
But let us, if you want to prepare your first roll,
Okay.
everybody prepare your rolls. Lindy will go first, and then the rest of you go through. I will tell you what the number is to beat. Tell me only if you beat it, and then we will go forward. So Lindy, take us away.
I will do so. I should attempt to do so. Psychoanalysis.
Okay, so you get to roll persuasion, charm, or fast talk, and you must beat a hard success. Okay, is that everybody?
No chance of this.
Okay. Okay, so nobody has succeeded in besting Lindy on this round, Greta on this round. So if you elect to lie, you must tell her at the end. I will let you know that the current order is just as you are seeing, going left to right on your radio dial. Kate, Sabella, Dwight, and Elijah. Ask your first question, Greta. Kate, you are up. Sabella, you're on bat, or whatever. You're getting ready.
So Greta's gonna come up. She has her notebook, her pen. So we will start off with some simple questions. Very simple question.
All right.
What do you think about your fellow Olympians?
Well, that's an interesting place to start. They're wonderful. I think they're all wonderful. Next question.
Oh, the follow-up question to that would be, you seem to have a particular protectiveness or fondness about Miss Fraulein Isabella Ives.
Protectiveness? Well,
Yeah. More so than the rest of the group. I have merely observed this, and I was wondering if you would... wunderbar is, while a good word, very brief description. If we're going to be doing the psychoanalysis to help, protect your mind against further things, we need to go into depth into your mind.
yeah, right. Into depth.
So we will start with individual questions about each party member, because wunderbar is too broad.
Okay, yeah. Is it getting kind of warm up here? Franklin, check on the temperature. It's a little warm in here or something. Yeah, well, so doctor, what were you saying? I'm so sorry.
I was asking your opinion, how you feel about Miss Fraulein Ives.
Right, that's right. Well, Miss Ives is she is an important asset to this team, and she has proven herself to be very effective in challenging situations. And she's pretty much the only psychic that we have. So we're really lucky to have her around.
She is a psychic. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Right. Yes, that is. Perhaps we will go more in depth on that later. That's a very. You described how she benefits the team. You did not give how you felt, but yes. How about Herr Sawyer?
I'm sorry, Franklin. Check on that, would you please?
Okay, and at that point, let's cut away, and we will go over. So as soon as Franklin, is it warm in here? Let's cut directly over to the same question delivered to Sabella Ives.
Fraulein Ives. Yes, we will start with a simple question.
All right. I'm excited. I've never done this before, so I'm really looking forward to it.
That is, your enthusiasm is noted. So, what do you think about each of your fellow Olympians?
What do I think about them?
Yes.
Like how?
Personally, what is your personal opinion of them?
Well, I just love Miss O'Callahan. I call her Katie. Did you notice?
I have noticed that you Americans are fond of nicknames, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you call her Kate?
Do you want a nickname? Are you included in this question? Because I also really like you.
I would very much appreciate your opinions about each and every one of the Olympians.
All right. Well, I think you are just super smart, and I am sorry if I have ever bothered you with my familiarity, because I notice that it makes you uncomfortable, and I really don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mr. Burke, he doesn't talk a lot.
Nein.
To anyone. You guys seem friendly, though.
Yes, we do not speak much to each other.
Oh.
That is why it works.
Right, yeah. I was about to say, you probably like that. Mr. Sawyer sometimes gets under my skin, but I think that he's probably nicer than he lets on. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I think about everyone. I'm super happy to just be a part of this group, and because everyone's just so amazing and has seemingly led such exciting lives. So I'm glad to be part of it.
At that point, Franklin Watson walks by, and as Franklin walks by, he reaches down and picks up a cigarette, and he turns around, but this time the scene is Greta talking to Dwight, and he hands it, and he goes, "Oh, here you go, Mr. Burke." Same question to Dwight.
Right. I know we are not much for talking, but this is... You seem nervous on the plane. Perhaps it will take your mind off the situation.
Dwight's already probably 3 in. He's like, "Look, Doc, the way I see everybody is Jack put us together like a tool chest. You got Kate, who's our level. She keeps everything balanced and normal. You got Miss Ives, who's our, I would say, magical saw. She kind of saws through the truth and gets things done. Mr. Sawyer, he's our crowbar. Crowbars can be used for all sorts of different things. You were brought in apparently as a wrench, a German wrench, but a wrench that keeps things together. And me, I'm our hammer. You know, I drive the nails and I knock out the things. We're put together for a reason here, and I'm going to go with that.
That is an interesting perspective.
Thank you.
And after that, Franklin Watson, you see him come back in, and he just so happens to be opening up the tool chest that's inside the ugly duckling, and he's sorting around through there. He looks at something, closes it, and realizes he's interrupting a moment between Dr. Greta Von Krause and Elijah Sawyer, and he kind of tips his hat real quick and heads back up towards the cockpit. Same question to Elijah.
Yeah, there he goes. Greta, can I call you Greta? Of course I can. We're friends. We got shot at together. Anyone that gets shot at together is friends.
Is that how it works?
I gotta warn you, this kind of stuff, it doesn't really work on me. You know, I went to school, and every time you ask me a question, my brain picks it apart. Instead of thinking of an answer, I think of why you're asking me the question in the first place. And yeah, I've just not had good luck with this kind of thing in the past.
Perhaps if you relax and just try to answer honestly instead of picking apart the question. Maybe I will rapid fire them and you just say the first things that comes to mind. Perhaps that could work. Do I have to call you by Elijah instead of Herr Sawyer, because we are first name basis now?
Doctor, you can call me whatever you want.
Oh, would General Chrysanthemum be better, or perhaps Daryl Lecht, Herr Lecht?
I think
Which do you prefer?
I think these questions are for Mr. Elijah Sawyer.
First then, let's answer these as Herr Sawyer. What do you think about your fellow Olympians? It's a simple question. Anyone can give an opinion of another person.
Oh, well, obviously, one of them is a gorgeous, intelligent scientist, and I tend to get along with her rather well.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are maybe not friends, comrades. Again, people you get shot at with.
Yeah.
each person's playing their role and doing what they're supposed to.
Do you have any problems with any of the people playing the roles? Perhaps you do not like the parts in this production.
I can look by most things. I think this is all Jack's fault, honestly. Miss O'Callahan, though, seems to have some kind of a dilemma. She has a complex, if you will. She likes to think of herself as a hero out of one of them storybooks.
And that's the perfect place to end the first round of questioning. As we flip the script a bit, Greta's going to ask her next question, but not before we roll our second battery of rolls. So, Greta, if you go ahead and roll for us.
Okay. All right. Oh.
Okay, so Greta actually failed this psychoanalysis roll. Now, go ahead. I would say Greta has the option of... Greta, you would have the option of actually spending 7 luck if you wanted to. We'll save that for next time.
I rolled a 40. I actually rolled a 40.
Elijah actually failed as well.
Yeah, but if you fail, you have to succeed, and you have to do it in a success that's harder than hers. You've all failed. It is all in the same playing field at this point. If you choose to lie, you will have to tell Greta after the end of this. So ties go to the doctor in this case. Greta, ask your next question, but before you do so, the order going forward for this round of questioning will be Sabella, Dwight, Elijah, and Kate. Greta, take us away.
So
that was fun. Did I do well on the first question?
You did excellent. There are no wrong answers in this.
So it's not that kind of test.
No, it's not a test. It is merely me getting to know you as a person, and learning.
So that we can be closer as friends.
So that I may be of greater assistance to you in times of need, perhaps. Yes.
Oh, you're super good at assisting us. All right.
Perhaps eventually, friends. But yeah, maybe the Germans move a bit slower than you Americans.
I do move very fast.
You so speedy. Tell me about your childhood.
What about it?
How was it like? Did you grow up in poverty? Were you well off? Did you had lots of friends? What kind of games did you play? Just a generic childhood synopsis. So much of a person's growth comes from at a very young age.
Sure. Well, I lived with my mama and dad down in New Orleans. I was mostly by myself. I don't have any brothers or sisters. Not a lot of friends. I always had to wear these when I was like that's something else we have in common. I always had to wear these when I was little. My mama was kind of like me the same way. And it did not turn out well for her.
No.
When I was about 16, she died, and then my daddy died soon after that, and that's when I came up to New York with Grandpa.
So you have not been in New York very long then?
Now it'd be a long time. Now it'd be about, I can do math. I'm real good at math.
How old are you now?
I'm 27.
It would be
I came here when
9 years.
Yes.
No.
11.
No.
11.
11. We're so good at math.
I think we have very high education.
Greta wouldn't have gotten that wrong. That's all me.
No. Neither would I have. All right. Yeah. 9 years. 11 years. Shut up. I don't care anymore.
Do you like it here in New York? Would you prefer New Orleans?
New Orleans.
And as Sabella says that, a wrench rolls down and rests at her feet. And Dwight reaches down and picks it up and hands it back to Franklin Watson, and Franklin nods and puts it back in there as the same question is now addressed to the sniper of the group.
I am Doc. It seems strange. He's getting, any more. Are you? He almost forgot that you're interviewing him. You know what I mean? It's like he just thinks we're talking. Yeah, my father. He was. He went off the war when I was born in 1898. He was in the Spanish-American War. Actually, he fought in Guadalcanal. He wasn't with the Rough Riders and all that fancy crap. My mother was a seamstress, and she died young. My father came home, and he was a wanderluster. He was all over the place. He went and worked on the Panama Canal. So he left me. I was the third of three brothers. We were close because we had to look out for each other. My mother was dead, and he did teach me how to shoot. He took me out hunting, and he was a soldier. And he took after me because I actually at 10 when he first took me out, I was better than he was at shooting. And he basically disappeared. I don't know where he is. I don't know what happened to him. I don't even know if he's dead.
How old were you when he disappeared?
I was probably 16, 17. I was getting ready to join the Marines, and they were shipping me off to, we were getting ready to invade Haiti in 1914. So it was, he was proud of me. He knew what I wanted to be. My brother, he became a banker, stock market, not in New York. He lives out in California. My other brother, he actually died in the war he died by a U-boat. He was on a ship and he was sunk and killed. So
my condolences.
Yeah, it happens.
War.
So as Dwight takes another drink and he sips it and makes a face and looks out the window for a second, we see the beautiful skyline above the Pacific Ocean. And as a cloud kind of brushes past the window, the sky, still a perfect shade of blue, pans back, and now Elijah Sawyer is in the seat as he is facing Greta's questions.
So, Sawyer. It's very awkward calling first. What was your childhood like?
See, this is what I'm talking about. You're trying to uncover my big, traumatic event, which turned me into who I am today. Well, it was rather normal, I like to think. I did what most little boys
Not everyone
do.
has a traumatic event. I did not have one until I was an adult. Some children just, they have hobbies, they have interests from a very young age. Others just...
We'll have to switch seats sometime, Doctor, but, I did what most little boys do. I shot cats with my 22. I did stupid arts and crafts with my mom. I still remember how to crochet. I never got the knitting because you have 2 needles and it just makes more sense with 1. But, I was different than the other little boys. My mind craved stimulation, and my favorite author is Mr. Mark Twain. Have you had the privilege of reading The Adventure of Tom Sawyer?
I do not believe I have. Perhaps I should have to obtain a copy when we are back in New York.
You can have mine. It is on a list, I think, of books anyone should read before they die. Tom Sawyer is able to convince people to do his work for him through clever subterfuge and charm. And he goes on fantastic adventures and doesn't have a care in the world. No ties, no family, nothing to worry about. You could say Tom Sawyer left some kind of a seed in me.
Interesting. That is an interesting childhood idol to have, perhaps.
And at that point, Franklin walks by again, passing between the two. His eyes linger for a moment in the seat that previously held Elijah Sawyer, but now holds Kate O'Callahan. And before she can meet his gaze, he quickly averts it and heads back up to the cockpit.
Well, I grew up in Arizona. My daddy was a rancher, and my mom was a school teacher. It was just the three of us. And I suppose I was a little bit accident prone. I was always getting myself into trouble. Like there's this one time I dragged my little red wagon all the way up to the top of this hill that was by our house. Actually, you might have heard of it. This was the hill where Percival Lowell had his observatory. You know about him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, he lived right there and built his observatory right there next to our ranch. And so I dragged my wagon up there and I just hopped in it like I was going to ride it all the way down. And I kind of wrecked and I broke my arm. And then that one time I strapped some rockets on the back of a little go-kart that I built. That time I got a concussion. And that's when my mom and daddy said maybe flying lessons would be a little bit safer. So
that is not the conclusion I would have reached, but it seems you had very supportive parents.
Yeah, they were wonderful. And so I started flying lessons when I was 15, and I got my pilot's license the next year. Well, I got it, and then I lost it because when I was landing on the on my solo flight, I kind of buzzed the tower. It was really it was kind of just fun, and I thought it would be okay, but it wasn't. They took it away before I even landed. But about a month later, I got it back again, and I just been in the air ever since.
It seems you are a natural for such things.
Well, I don't know about that, but sure is fun.
And at that moment, the ugly duckling bounces for a second, and everything kind of, there's some turbulence over the vast Pacific. And we come to our next bevy of questions that Greta Von Krause will ask our intrepid band of Olympians. And this time, Greta is going to roll, and we're going to see what her result is, and then I will tell you the rest of you to roll after we figure out what Greta has. Greta, go right ahead. Okay, you must beat a hard success on persuasion, charm, or fast talk. Okay, so Dwight, you gonna give it a shot, or?
I already rolled before by accident and I failed, so that's what I go with.
Okay, good. I didn't see that, bud. That's great. Of everybody, I will let the audience know, Sabella Ives did beat Greta's roll with an extreme success, meaning that if she would so choose, Lauren can lie, and Greta would not know. Everyone else, if you choose to lie on this question, Lindy will find out in chat after this stream. Lindy, ask your questions. The order for the following: Dwight, Elijah, Kate, and Sabella. Dwight, you're up. Let's hear what the sniper has to say.
So, this question doesn't really apply to Dwight, so I'll ask him a different question, based on the previous question. How was your time in the war? How did that impact you? You said your father went missing and your mother died at an early age. Did the Marines become your new family in that case?
Yeah, Dwight kind of pauses. He's kind of laughs. He said, "So you know the terrible thing. I did so much in that. So much. Yeah, he doesn't even. He's kind of almost at a loss for words. He even clicks a cigarette. He says, "You know the funny thing was they sent me over early. I actually fought with, I was like a tank or an airplane. They sent me over as like a tool, like I said, used, and I was with the British, and I was up on a ridge, and it was in early '16, and it was cold, and he's kind of like there." And he says, I looked off a ridge and I saw they were wheeling in your crowd boys were wheeling in kerosene. So I decided I plugged one of their kerosene barrels from afar. Little did I know it must have been near gunpowder, something. They were in the trenches, a death alley, as they would call it, because they would hold up logs up and down the rows, and everything caught fire. And these Germans, these Krauts, they jumped out of these trenches like they look like they're red firebugs or red
ants from an anthill.
Yes, they scattered the whole company, and of course the British they saw this thinking it was an advantage, and they stormed the trench. We slaughtered them. It was ghastly, almost, as you would say. And you know the most fucked up thing about this whole war, we had literally gained 400 yards. And the more fucked up thing about it was that was the most ground we had gained in 4 months. So that can tell you what kind of awful things that were done in that war.
And with that revelation, as Franklin Watson overhears this at his position just north of it, as he's kind of going through and rummaging through some of the packs, he puts his head down and walks off. And as we pan back to the seat, it is now occupied by Elijah Sawyer. And I think you have a different question for them, Greta. If so, go right ahead.
This one works for Sawyer. It's not going to work for everybody. I have a list. That way I don't pick and choose based on you guys' roles. So, she'd be like, we asked about your childhood. How is your relationship with your parents now? Sawyer?
Do you know I have not seen them since I left home? I left home early, 16, 17.
She notices a trend. Interesting. Did you have any siblings? You've not made contact with them in some time? I didn't see.
I grew up as an only child.
Would you mind, how old are you now?
Oh, well.
This is also good for medical records in case you come down with something. I should know your age.
Understandable. I am in my late 20s.
Okay.
Again, the duckling rocks a bit, and as Greta's pen falls to the ground, this time the gloved hand of Cato Callahan picks it up and hands it back to her as she has taken the seat across from Dr. Von Krause.
Oh, there you go, Doctor. Sorry about that. Franklin.
It is all right. It is perfectly fine. So you mentioned your parents were very supportive. How is your relationship with them now?
Well, it's fine, I suppose. I left for school when I was 17, and then I went to the teachers' college. I thought that I'd just follow in my mother's footsteps because I was always really good in school, and I graduated really high in my class. But my the folks at teachers' college said that I didn't have the right sort of sensibility for teaching children. No. Apparently, I know I was kind of I didn't understand that either, but they said that I was really good at math and at physics, and so they recommended me to go to this new school, California Institute of Technology, and so I did. But I get home every once in a while, and it's always nice to see them. I get to go out and ride the horses and go back up to the observatory and see my friends up there. So yeah, I suppose it's fine.
If you would not mind me asking how old you are now.
I'm 28 years old.
And at that point, Franklin Watson marks down on the inside of his hand on the palm 28. And as the camera pulls back from the palm of Franklin Watson to the seat of Dr. Greta Von Krause. It is now occupied by one Sabella Ives.
Now, Greg,
This is getting fun.
So this is a question for you, Greg. In what order did I interview these people in real life? Because Miss O'Callahan revealed something rather interesting about Miss Ives that I've been suspicious of for quite some time, but haven't been able to quite put my finger on until just now.
I'll go last.
Yeah, well, we'll go with the original order then, is the order in which you did them. Kate, Sabella, Dwight, and Elijah.
Okay, cool. I was just curious about that.
Sure, that's a good question.
Her
Great question.
Kind of dead, too, so that doesn't really make for a good question. So,
kill him before Greg can kill him. That's my motto. Greg, I also whispered you. Okay, I'm ready. I'm really enjoying this, Doctor.
I am very glad.
I like talking to you. I feel like we don't talk as much when we're running and shooting.
No,
which I also,
it is difficult to talk when most of those things are happening, because when you run, you get out of breath, and when you are shooting, it's very loud.
Yes, you get it.
I try.
I'm gonna take you out one night when we get back.
Oh, you are.
Yes, I am. What's your next question?
Oh, well, it seems that you said you wear the gloves, and your mother had the same powers, abilities as you. When did your psychic manifestation take place? Was it innate? Has it always been there? Or was it something that developed as you got older?
As long as I can remember, I think I don't remember any particular things from when I was really little, but I know that my mom and daddy were always worried about it.
Did your mother help you through this at all? As I'm sure such a thing for such a young child could have been intimidating or frightening.
No, she didn't help me. She didn't really want me to do it. They were real mad when they found out, but it wasn't. I just really liked it. It feels good when I do it. In case you haven't been able to tell that.
You get very into it.
Yes, I'm very enthusiastic.
What about your grandfather? Was he supportive of it, or?
He taught me a little about it once I moved up to New York. Yeah.
Does he have similar abilities then?
Not that I know of, but he told me what it was called. It's called psychometry, and he gave me my own little back room. That's my room that I took y'all in.
Oh, the ones that we had to be in the stairs and we were locked in.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Jack
what the room was for.
Spying on us. That room, the comfy one with all the pillows and the candles.
Yeah.
And the record player. Yeah. That room. Nice. I go in there to do my readings when they require more privacy.
I hope so.
But I mean, I'm comfortable enough. If you want to watch sometime, you can.
Perhaps I shall observe at some point. Yeah.
For scientific study.
Yeah, scientific studies. This is very interesting. It's a realm of science that has not really been studied before. I'm very intrigued by your.
I've never thought of it as a science, but I guess it could be.
Everything is a science, Fraulein Ives.
And with that, everything is a science, Fraulein Ives. We will end this round of questioning. Lindy, you have one or two more questions left for the group.
Let me see. I have two more questions for the group, and then a very special question for each Olympian that shouldn't take very long.
Great. Okay, so we're going to do another round. Let us get the first reading from Greta, and then you all will be able to do what you want to do. Lauren, I can't whisper you back, but it would be very difficult. Okay. Oh, you can try, but I mean, it would be very obvious at this point, too.
Let me just... You have something on your face!
We talked about this.
Okay, so...
Is that peanut butter?
Oh, you're right. Okay, so this is a regular success.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that rolls a hard or an extreme success... And Dwight...
I shouldn't even...
Give it a shot.
You might get it. You never know. You got the last one.
Okay, you did not. So nobody succeeded. So any lies in this round of questioning will need to be told to Lindy.
I expected to fail a whole lot more. All right.
Okay. So
All right.
the next question,
Yes.
the order is Elijah, Kate, Sabella, and Dwight. And as Franklin Watson walks back and realizes that it's not Kate in the seat, but Elijah, he immediately heel turns and walks back. Dr. Greta, you have Mr. Sawyer at your disposal.
It was a childhood trauma. Anytime there's someone nearby named Franklin, I just lose all inhibitions. And what's the term? Ape shit, I think.
I'm certain that it is more of an American term that I will write it down and things to remember to use in conversation. Yeah, well, this is not a simple question. One that mostly I'm curious about rather than any psychological means. Would you run away from Project Athena if you could?
Saving this little girl is number one on my priority list right now, Doctor. And running away from Project Athena, it's no secret, that's priority number 3.
What is priority number 2, if you do not mind me asking?
I can leave Project Athena as soon as the man that knows how to track me down is dead.
Ah, the Feral Castile. Is that him? I do not like him.
Jack.
Oh,
Doctor.
Chuck. What about this Feral Castile? You think he will not find you?
That's neither here nor there. That has nothing to do with Project Athena. The question was, am I gonna leave Project Athena?
That is true.
And you
that is
can
priority number 3.
you can bet your German boof that I certainly will.
Interesting.
And with that, Franklin peeks back and realizes that the seat is in fact filled with the Kate that he would rather see. Looks down at the 28 on his hand, and Dr. Greta Von Krause, you have Kate O'Callahan in your seat.
Miss Frau O'Callahan, or Fraulein, excuse me, Entschuldigung. Which this is more of a personal curiosity than anything. I am getting to learn everyone in the what is the word? The not coordination of group cohesiveness, group composition, makeup. Yeah, that is, and it is dissonant at times. Yeah, I was, which made me curious that if would you run away? Would you leave Project Athena if you could?
No, doctor, I would not.
May I inquire as to your reasoning behind this? I'm so curious as to people's motives in things. Is you feel a specifically strong loyalty to the United States government? Is it your fellow Olympians? Is it Jack?
No, it's not Jack. I suppose that, well, I suppose I just believe in what we're doing.
That is understandable. I impressed by your answer. Your forthright it is.
And as we get a view from the outside of the plane, almost through the glass of the Ugly Duckling into the cockpit, having overheard most of the conversations that are going on near him, Franklin Watson hears the revelation that Kate O'Callahan is going nowhere. And the smile that is across his face is nearly as bright as the sky before him. And the Ugly Duckling goes perhaps a little faster. But as we peel back through the cargo hold of the Ugly Duckling, Sabella Ives is now in the seat.
Yeah, your enthusiasm is still just so...
We're having so much fun.
Yeah, we are definitely learning a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more of personal interest since we are becoming
friends.
Yeah,
friends.
That yeah.
Uh-huh.
your bookstore has been threatened. We have been shot at multiple times. Would you run away from Project Athena if you could?
Why would I do that?
Some people do not enjoy getting shot at, no matter the benefits or the bookstores, the livelihoods being threatened. And some people believe that certain people, not in this group, but in general, I've done this for many people over in Germany, and sometimes the benefits do not outweigh the cost for them. I'm curious as to what your opinion is.
Well, I spend a lot of time alone. I don't get close to many people. It's hard, especially once they know what you do. But everyone here knows what I do, and they're not running away from me. So, yeah, I don't think I'd run away.
That is good.
Yeah.
And with that, the toolbox rattles in the 2 chairs down, and Franklin's going through some stuff, and he picks up a hammer for a second, he puts it down, he picks up a saw for a second, he puts it down, and then he picks up the hammer again and walks back towards the front, and this time the seat is filled with one Dwight Burke.
Now, Dwight, I know you are not thrilled with Jack's leadership and potentially the being ordered around by Miss O'Callaghan perhaps at times, but would you leave Project Athena if you could, or would you stay?
Yeah, I've given this a lot of thought for many weeks now that we've been doing this, and I'm a firm believer in signs.
Yeah.
And for years now, I've gone, well, let's just be frank. I've been I have a ticket going down. And this is my chance. The Lord has given me a chance to somewhat write what I've done, where I've been, and how I've done it. And there's someone waiting on me up there, and I want to do everything I can now. There's redemption. And this is my chance. And if I die trying, that's the way I'm going to go. But I'm not leaving. Whether I trust Jack or I trust the U.S. government, quite frankly, it doesn't matter.
Governments are very...
we've seen things, and I know we've had this discussion that you don't believe in these kind of things, but the things that we're seeing now are beyond demonic, and they're beyond this world.
Or perhaps they are merely a science that we have no understanding of yet, that we have not comprehended before.
Yeah, well, Dwight just kind of drinks and says, "You can't be serious." He just looks at you like, like everything you just said is nonsense. But I'm in this for the long haul, and if it puts me 6 feet under, then I hope it's the right way.
And as Franklin Watson uses the hammer to bang closed a particularly pesky panel up at the front of the Ugly Duckling, we get to our final round of questions before the individual questions. And in this one, what we are going to do is the same thing. Greta's going to roll, but the number of your rolls will determine in which order you go. From highest roll to lowest, we'll go from first to last to make it fair. Greta, give us a roll.
Oh, I failed.
Now wait, before anybody else goes, Greta, you can spend 6 luck if you wish.
I don't want to spend any luck.
Okay, very well.
Ooh, so Mr. Sawyer. Oh no.
Okay, wow, you almost got it on that one, Dwight. So with our final rolls,
I refuse to spend luck.
Right, as we answer the questions, the final order will be Kate, Sabella, actually Elijah. Then Dwight will end us off on this one. Elijah did succeed. He can lie without any repercussions on this final question. Please ask your final question as Kate O'Callaghan is in the seat.
Are we about finished, Doctor? I really feel like I should get back up to the cockpit. It's awful rough right now.
I have two small questions left for you. One question and then a bit of a psychology test. Perhaps,
A test?
It is it's very intriguing. I will explain it momentarily. But
I can't wait. I like tests.
Oh, you are going to like this one. The last question was this is good to know from a doctor's standpoint in case we encounter it on any of these crazy missions we are going on. But what are your fears? What are you most afraid of? Whether it be spiders or the dark or something more sinister. It is good to know these things so that if someone has a breakdown, I can do my best to counteract it.
My fears?
Yeah. Miss Frau Lionel Color.
Well, I suppose I guess my greatest fear is failing. Is failing these friends of ours and failing Ruby and failing in our mission and failing our country and the world. And yeah, I suppose that's it.
This is a very common fear.
And with that, as Franklin Watson juggles the ugly duckling for perhaps the last time, with that bustle and that trouble, we go from the failure and fear of Cato Callahan to the same question being asked of Sabella Ives.
That is a good question. All right. Fear. I feel like I should be scared of lots of things. Like I should have been scared of picking up, a clone's detached arm and touching it. Probably should have been scared of that. Should be scared of bat dragons and flaming men, as you guys have told me. But I guess I'm just kind of scared that I'm going to mess it all up for y'all. That's why I was so upset in Bolivia. I thought I had just messed it all up and that it was going to be all my fault that we were going to fail that mission. It's a good thing you showed up because I don't know what we would have done without you. I just thought I had just ruined the whole thing.
My timing was serendipitous, if you will.
Yes, very much so. I mean, bat dragons aren't pleasant. I don't like them, but I think that doesn't quite do it. I don't like men with needle teeth. I've seen there are too many of those running around.
Men with needle teeth.
Yes. Oh, you haven't seen those yet. They're bad. His name was George. Well, his name wasn't George. He was German. So, but if you see any, just get away.
Was it in every other way? Was it just human and they just had needle teeth? I'll have to go over this anatomy later.
I will. It's very interesting. I think you would be super into.
I would love to study one of them.
So as Sabella Ives begins to sketch George with the needle teeth that she met in the Lower East Side in Ives' Esoteric and Antiquarian Bookstore, again, Franklin comes back and starts towards the toolbox, stops immediately, remembers an earlier comment that came from the lips of Elijah Sawyer about going batshit crazy, heel turns and immediately returns to the cockpit, sits down in his chair, eyes straight forward. Elijah Sawyer, you are in the seat across from Dr. Greta Von. You know where you are.
We should put up a curtain or something.
I could have that arranged.
Well, I know this isn't your ideal office.
It definitely is not. I am less than thrilled with the accommodations since I have been in America.
As am I, and you don't get used to it.
That is comforting to know at least that my expectations will consistently be let down. Good to scratch hope before it ends, yeah. But This is the last question, and then I have a small would you rather, I believe is what the Americans call this game.
We played that game in college all the time.
Yeah, so but this is the last psychoval question. What is your greatest fear? What are your fears? Just fears in general. If one does not obey the others.
Fear.
This is also good to know in case something happens in the field and you freeze up. I know how to counteract it if necessary.
You don't need to worry about that. The evolutionary school of thought on psychology. Have you read Darwin or John B. Watson?
I have, yeah.
They say fear is a tool of the ancient caveman to avoid dark caves, big falls, enemy tribes, poisonous spiders, the list goes on. But in order to fear, there is one large assumption that needs to be made, an assumption I intend to disprove. You can't be afraid if you don't care if you die.
And with that, Franklin does come back, returns the hammer to the tool chest, closes the top, looks back, nods, heads back up to the cockpit as Dwight sits across from Greta von Krause.
So, Dwight, and he's probably even more in by this point.
He's inebriated.
All right. All right. She will kind of be like, so, Dwight, this is the last question, and so it's just a small hypothetical at the end that I would like to ask of you. The last question is, what are you afraid of?
Besides airplanes, Doc?
Yeah, besides airplanes, that one is quite obvious. You're very disconcerted.
This is very unnatural, being in the air. There's guarantees in life, Doc, that I've come to, the grass is green, the sky's blue.
Most of the time, yeah.
And, we keep talking about this little girl who can heal and keep you immortal and yada, yada, yada. But in the end of the day, no one's making it out of this world alive. So what we have and what talents we have with it are what we need to do to use it. And we can waste it. And if we don't use it and we waste it for nothing and for madness, that is my fear, that I would die tomorrow and waste everything that God or whoever has given me would be. That's it.
And with that statement of that's it, the scene wraps on the question aspect of the group, and each of them settle in for one final question. Greta, if you will roll your roll, the rest will do it. We will go back to the original order for this one, as I'm assuming each question is individual, so you can prepare for it anyway. So we will be going Kate, Sabella, Dwight, and Elijah.
I'm going to spend one luck.
You're going to spend one luck and make it extreme?
Make it extreme.
Okay. Once again, with the one luck point.
I rolled well.
You did. With an extreme success, it doesn't matter if you choose to lie. You must tell Greta after the stream. Greta, Kate.
What's the order for this one?
Kate, Sabella, Dwight, and Elijah. Kate is up first. The last question of this session between the good doctor and our aviatrix. Take it away.
This is a newer line of psychology in Germany, where it is you present someone with a hypothetical and you respond with how you would act in that situation.
All right. And it's a test, you said, right?
A test is a strong word. It is more of a to test yourself more than anything.
Oh, so it's not like something I could beat the others on?
No, I'm afraid not. Psychology is not a competition. Fräulein O'Callaghan.
All right. Well, go ahead.
All right. Your hypothetical is, say you are piloting a plane with 50 people on board. But your engine is dying. There's no way to repair it. It is beyond repair. You are going to crash in 2 minutes' time. You see a highway that could work as a landing strip, but there are 2 to 3 cars on it. Now, surrounding this highway is mountains and forests. There's no way you could land the plane safely unless you landed on this highway. But in landing on the highway, you would crash into the cars. So, do you land on the highway, crashing the cars, potentially killing those people, or do you crash the plane, saving those in the vehicles on the ground and potentially have everyone inside the plane die?
Well, doctor, is this a single engine aircraft or multi-engine?
You have no more engines. They are gone. Out the plane.
Oh, so we're gliding then. What's the weather like?
Stormy, Doc. You could only safely land on the highway.
So it's stormy. Is it one of those storms that gets a lot of like groundswell with it? Because I'm thinking if it is, then actually I probably can just fly right over those cars and land right on that highway and everybody's safe.
They are perfectly spaced so that no matter how you landed, you would hit at least one of them.
Well, I don't think that's a very realistic scenario, Doctor.
These are not super realistic. They are hypotheticals.
Well, I mean, I still don't think this is exactly right because I mean, depending on what kind of engine it was and where the problem was, I could probably.
So no engines cannot fix it. The things are breaking off. Says the only way you could land is on the highway full of perfectly spaced cars. Let's say it's a parade. Those are perfectly spaced.
And as this goes back and forth, as Kato Callahan does her best James T. Kirk Kobayashi Maru, I know a way to beat this type of scenario.
There's no such thing as the no-win scenario, baby.
Right. We pull back and we return to the Ugly Duckling, this time with Sabella Ives in the chair.
All right, so this is a hypothetical only.
All right.
It is to see how you would react in certain situations.
All right.
One of those snappy new tests we are working on in job.
So do you want me to answer real fast?
I want you to answer honestly, but go with your gut. Your gut is usually correct, and how you would actually respond in a scenario. So, you are in. Say you are in medieval times. You are.
Okay.
Your country has been at war. You are one of the brightest ladies in town. You are well loved by everyone there. You are.
All right. I can imagine this very well so far.
Yes, you have a happy family, a young daughter, and however, your city has just been under siege by the enemy, and they are storming the town. You know that their leader is ruthless, and they will kill anyone they find. So you and the rest of the surviving villagers are hiding in the basement. Now, there is your daughter, your baby daughter. She is wailing, she's screaming, she's come down with something. You cannot calm her down, you cannot quiet her. She cannot be quieted by any means. This is purely hypothetical. Now, the soldiers are almost upon you. If they hear the baby crying, they will come and kill everyone. So, would you kill the baby and save the rest of your village? Or would you allow the baby to live and have the soldiers come?
You thought of that yourself? Why did you think of that?
It is in a book. I did not think of this one myself.
Who wrote the book? I want the author's name.
I will have to look it up when I get back to New York. I do not have the book with me.
Ooh. I can't kill a baby, Dr. Von Krause.
Okay, well, see? That is your gut instinct. That is the answer.
Just before, if that's all, just before we conclude our session, since you got to know me so well, I was wondering if you'd let me get to know you a little better.
You may feel free to ask me any question you wish.
Well, what if we performed a little scientific experiment? you could get a chance to observe what I do up close and personal.
You wish to touch me again?
Yes, but just
not at gunpoint this time? That was fast.
I did not hold the gun on you, Dr. Von Krause. I do have a gun, but I did not hold it on you.
No. You had your psychic fingers on me. So suggest a stage choice. Now, I would request, perhaps we could think on it. I do not think I just am in the process of giving everyone a psychological evaluation. It would not be fair to them. I do not know how it works, but if it is a very recent event, it would not be fair to them for you to know all about them, doctor-patient confidentiality. But I could give you a possession of mine that I have not been in contact with super recently before the psych evaluations, and perhaps that is, if that does not record recent memories, I simply cannot breach the patient-doctor confidentiality.
I think that sounds lovely.
And with that declaration of things being quite lovely, laugh, lovely, Lindy. We will go to the final question for Mr. Dwight Burke as he sits in the chair across from his sometimes driving buddy, Dr. Greta Von Krause.
So, this is merely hypothetical. If this came up in the war at all, I apologize, but this is it's in a book I read. Say you are getting ready to snipe a target. This target is a horrible, evil person. Just you do not like him at all. He's terrible. He murders everything. He's just bad. However, he has taken total cover behind a hostage, a perfectly innocent hostage lady. He's just grabbed rather large lady, so he's able to hide completely behind her. He's a very scrawny man. You could kill him, but you would have to shoot through the hostage, killing her as well. Would you take the shot, or would you allow him to get away?
You would die.
All right.
There would be no question.
All right.
It's the way it works. It's the way of life.
And with that declaration, as Dwight Burke concludes what has been a very enlightening psychotherapy session with the good doctor, the last of the Olympians sits in the chair across from Dr. Greta Von Krause. The chess match continuing for one more question.
No. This is the hypothetical I had mentioned earlier. So, this is fun new psych thing we have in Germany. I don't believe it has reached the States yet, but I give you the scenario. You present to me your answer. What you would do in the scenario? Your gut instinct is usually the most correct, so go with that. So you are on vacation. You are on vacation with your significant other. Perhaps you say you're happy after all the scene stage is over. You've gotten away. Jacques is no longer a problem. We save the girl. You're married. You are happy. You are with her and her sister. You are taking beach vacation. Very lovely weather. Strong winds that day. You decide you are going to bring in bags for the ladies in the house. They are going to go take a brief dip in the water. However, you bring the bags in and you hear screams. You go outside to the beach. You see that they have been taken by a rip current, rip tide. It pulls them out. You know that you get out there. You go to save them. You get out there and you realize you can only bring one of them back at a time. Your wife, she is fairly good swimmer, decent. Your sister-in-law, terrible swimmer. She will not make it if you do not get her back first. However, by the time you get her back to shore and go back out to your wife, there is only a 50% chance that she will make it. Who do you save first?
Doctor, I have a question for you, actually. Who put you up to this?
Who? She Killa looks taken aback. I am merely curious.
Is this Jack?
Is this?
What did he tell you?
I have not spoken more than 3 words to Jack. since getting into America, and he was like, go examine corpses mid-fight. And I said, okay. I examine corpses, give me lab. And he still does not go to me lab. But no, I merely am trying to get to know my colleagues better. I swear to you, no one put me up to this other than myself.
He sits back a bit, not answering right away. His eyes kind of go left and right. He's thinking and running over scenes in his head. My apologies. Certainly, this is entirely hypothetical.
Entirely hypothetical. She looks like almost like, what is there now? Like she was like shocked, and now she's kind of like,
Entirely hypothetical, yes.
There's an entire book of scenarios. I merely picked one at random.
I'll have you know, Doctor, in that situation, it wouldn't matter if it was a sister-in-law. It wouldn't matter if it was an Olympian. It wouldn't matter if it was you. It wouldn't matter no matter who it was. I'd watch every single last one of you die.
Even survive?
Of course not.
So we have our answer. Thank you.
And with that revelation, as Elijah Sawyer maybe moves a queen into a specific position on the chessboard, we pull back from the Ugly Duckling on its trip to Borneo, and we know how that turns out. But time...
Super good.
Right. But time as it is wont to do, perhaps has something else to show us as it creeps back and the duckling flies backwards. New York, back to Bolivia, to an evening of a dinner between two very interesting people. One, Dr. Greta von Krauss, and one, Commander Joseph Dietrich. As we are inside the officers' mess in a Bolivian village very familiar to the Olympians. Joseph Dietrich walks into the room carrying a bottle of wine, and he says...
Oh, no, not muted.
Here's some Cabernet Sauvignon. 1928 is a very good year.
A good year indeed. Thank you.
He pours some into a glass, pours some into his glass. So, Doctor, what should we talk about?
You may. We are in Bolivia, of all places. Perhaps since we are not in any established military position right now, we could. You can call me Greta, and I could call you Joseph, if that would be acceptable.
Yeah. There is no one else around. Sure. Greta.
Well, there is an interesting study I was doing before I just left Germany. I was actually reading the book on the flight here. It was about psychology and the intricacies and such things.
I believe in none of this nonsense. This psychology. These are questions that weak people ask themselves.
Yes,
why am I so weak?
More amusing to ask the weak people. But for those not
superior.
weak-minded, it is a fun game of hypotheticals and intrigue.
If this is what you view as entertainment, sure. Ask your questions.
It can be entertaining. I mean, there's not much for me to dissect here, and that is my other chief form of entertainment. Not that I'm sure you wouldn't be interested, but it's not a humor here. I would prefer if we stayed in the comfort of the tent sipping wine, rather than standing over a lab table. When I got here, there were some interesting things. Perhaps we should get to know each other, since we will be working together. Yeah. Some other interesting things. I spoke to a Dietrich in Germany, and then there was a Dietrich in the right pod that unfortunately crashed in front of me. And there was a Dietrich here. Just how many of you are there?
How many of us are there?
Yes, that is a very intriguing question. I've never seen anything like this, scientifically. This is more science than psychology, I know, but it's top of my mind.
He smiles coyly and says, Von Ovenschlieben didn't ask you to ask this, did he?
I've never met Von Ovenschlieben.
Good. Terrible man.
He sounds like an asshole.
He is.
I bet he has a Einbackpfeifengeschichte.
Yeah. How many of us are there? Well, I will leave you with this. There are... And he goes over, and on the desk in the tent, there's a globe.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings it over, and he sets it down on the table between you. And he spins it. And without looking at it, he drops his finger, which hits somewhere in North America. I am here. And he spins it. He drops it somewhere Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm.
I am here. Spins it again. And takes all 5 of his fingers and drops them together into what is Russia and Europe. I am here. So, how many of us are there? How many stars are in the sky, Fräulein?
Interesting. And how did you achieve this? How are there so many of you? How did it happen? What science made this possible?
You ask questions as only the Führer knows. But...
really intrigued by a scientific perspective. I have there have been papers done on the theoreticals of cloning. There have been studies by another one of twins by Joseph Mendel. There have been many interesting theories on how to duplicate oneself. I've always been intrigued by such things. Is duplication the process here? How is this possible? And she'll take a sip of wine.
He sees her drink, and he drinks and drains his glass, waits for her to do the same.
She'll drain the glass.
He pours them back up and takes another long drink of the 1928 Cabernet Sauvignon. And he says, I will tell you.
Here indeed.
It's excellent. I will tell you, Doctor. The Führer, less than a year ago, he was involved in a very struggle with Germany, and not between true Germans, but between the communists and the Reich.
Yeah, I've heard about. I was working most of the time, but I read the papers. Yeah, somewhat familiar with the situation.
He would have lost, and he heard of an occult artifact in Jerusalem, of all places. He sent von Auvenschlieben to obtain it.
Von Auvenschlieben, he's the person who
He's a
can't even
fool.
equip troops to Bolivia.
He is an asshole, as you say.
Asshole.
He reported to the Führer that it was impossible to retrieve this artifact, that it was beyond his reach. To Berlin I went. I petitioned the Führer face to face, and I told him, von Auvenschlieben, in his heart, it is von Auvenschlieben and then the Reich. And I told the Führer, in my heart, Dietrich is the Reich. The Reich is Dietrich. So he sent me to Jerusalem. And there I did what von Auvenschlieben could not do. I retrieved the artifact. Where one Dietrich went in, Legion returned.
Lauren's face right now. I'm sorry, I can't.
This is serious. This wine's made you goofy.
I do not enjoy many people's company, but your company is quite amenable.
He looks and he slowly pulls off one of his gloves, lays it, and his perfectly finely manicured nails. He reaches across the table and opens his hand to Greta.
Like in a hold my hand kind of way? Like in a
touch my hand, but he says nothing.
I don't know if Greta would think to take her gloves off. I think she would just be like, take a sip of wine. It would be really rude not to reach forward, so she's gonna reach forward with her gloves on.
He pulls his hand up as soon as you reach across with his gloves, and he goes, And he reaches across again.
She's gonna kind of look at him. She'd be like, "You have some interesting abilities, I believe, by touching things. That is how you
You have
knew it was
no
a blood
idea.
sample. That's how you knew it was a blood sample was from another Dietrich."
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. This is very interesting. Trying to make sure I don't say anything that I wouldn't know outside of the timeline here. Okay, she'll be like, interesting. You will have to elaborate more upon this odd method of science.
The Reich is Dietrich. Dietrich is a Reich. And he reaches across, his hand out, and this time there is no question in his eyes.
She's gonna take off her left glove, the really scarred hand. Maybe that'll interfere with it. And reach out, because she can't die. She can't blow her cover right now, because if she does, she'll die.
And just as their fingers are to touch, that's where we're going to end it tonight, everybody. Everybody, thank you so much in chat for joining us for what is perhaps the first of the psychotherapy questions. I had a fantastic time learning a little bit about the Olympians that even I didn't know. Great job. A special hand for our doctor, Dr. Greta Von Krause. Lindy is fantastic. You already know that. If you're watching on YouTube,
fantastic job. Fantastic.
Make sure you check Lindy out on anything that she does, because she brings this level of crazy confidence to just about everything she does. It is very tough to throw her a curveball. She has a high batting average with RP. But let's go to the other very strong batters in tonight's lineup as we go down to Allison. Allison, I think we learned as much about Kate in this one as we've had so far, and I think we've learned almost as much about Franklin. But how did you enjoy your plane ride in 1933?
I feel like I need some like real life psychotherapy after the last hour and 38 minutes. My gosh. I don't know what you're talking about, learning more about Kate. I think it was just pretty straightforward. You know, she didn't let anything slip or anything. It wasn't like there was anything at all. But yeah, anyway, so that was really amazing. And Lindy, my God, it was so much fun. Folks, thanks so much for being a part of this with us tonight. Catch us back here tomorrow, I hope, as we avoid certain death. And until then, you can find me on Twitter every single minute of the day at Allison Robinson with 2 L's and a Y. Catch me on WanderQuest and God's Fall, 2 amazing D&D podcasts that I feel super lucky to be a part of, just like I feel incredibly lucky to be a part of this amazing cast.
Thanks so much, Allison. And please, WanderQuest. It is voted #1 by pirate queens everywhere. With that, let us go over to Lauren, who plays our Sabella Ives, who seemed very chill throughout this entire episode. In fact, I dare say she might be drunk, everybody. But let's see how she was. You seemed too calm. I didn't see you gesticulating or falling out of your chair or anything. None of that crazy
she
shit.
bounced it at the end there.
Is your monitor working? Because
I am totally joking. I saw the insanity in her window the entire time. Lauren, how'd you like tonight?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, that was very fun. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried about anything ever in my life. I can't wait to just gab about this as soon as we're done. I'm Lauren. I'm That Salty Ginger on Twitter. I DM on Encounter Roleplay on Mondays at 1 p.m. EST, some D&D 5e. But this is where my heart is. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to be back tomorrow night.
Oh, that is great. Okay. From Lauren to the perhaps maybe even the biggest revelations of the night, because we know he wasn't lying, or at least we're going to figure it out with those roles. But Steve, Dwight Burke, got a little drunk, talked to his new kraut friend. It was something. How'd you like it, buddy?
I had an absolute blast. I love everybody did. I mean, just like at all, I'm not worthy. To everybody was the answers, how they responded was amazing. I had such a blast tonight. This was complete fun. Lindy, you did off the wall great. The land was awesome. Everybody, thank you. Enjoy. See you tomorrow.
Steve, you were amazing tonight, my friend.
Thank
amazing.
You were
felt
too.
like I was at the war, like for real.
Everybody was amazing tonight. I mean, every answer was just, I mean, this was so much fun.
Yeah, awesome, buddy. Awesome. And to the maestro himself, the one that we learned maybe nothing about this entire time.
Right.
Strider, I will never, ever get sick of watching you masterfully fence as Elijah Sawyer. How'd you like it tonight, buddy?
Oh, shit. Let me mute.
Well, thank you, Greg. Oh, man, that's fantastic. This episode was a long time in the making, and I've been hyped up since we came up with the idea. Elijah's fun to play, and I am so excited for now and for future times to let you see all the variables going on in his head that I have to consider when playing him. Everyone else can hopefully get a little snapshot of him as well.
Yeah, which Strider, yeah, it's true too. Which Elijah will everyone learn to like or hate, and will any of them be real? That's what I, as a keeper, am looking forward to. Anyway, let's end it with the good doctor, last but certainly not least, who took us down this rabbit hole and was able to juke and jive along the way, making sure that she gave us one hell of a ride. Lindy, Dr. Greta Von Krause, in her element.
So I feel like I should give a disclaimer saying I know like absolutely nothing about psychology whatsoever, like actual negative knowledge about psychology. Like I know the word and I know you go, and how does that make you feel? And there's like a red couch involved. That's about it. So this was a really challenging episode to prep for me to come up with questions. Greg had a couple that I used, but the rest I was able to come up with. And the scenarios, I was super happy to think of those today. But yeah, oh my gosh, so many things. I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode a couple times just to analyze, because Greta is an over-analyzer and I am not. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's nice. Blah, blah, blah. Let me just doodle it down in my book. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being amazing psychotherapy subjects. And I'm also super freaked out about Dietrich, but you know, no biggie. So it's cool. It's fine. I'm not gonna like, it's not hot here at all. And I'm not nervous at all whatsoever. It'll be fine. It'll be fun. It'll be great. Yeah, you can find me online, Left Love Lindy, and I do Dungeons and Dragons on my own channel, along with some video games and cosplay. Tomorrow night, same place, slightly different time, for more Project Athena when we're in Bolivia.
Borneo.
Another B-O name. That's tropical and stuff. Yeah, and then on Wednesdays for Call of Cthulhu on Encounter Roleplays channel, I play with our lovely keeper as a fellow player, and I get to be a crazy hobo, so it's fun.
I personally can't wait for that because, once again, I get to witness Lindy on multiple fronts recently, which Tomes and Tentacles is coming out soon.
That's Tomes and Tentacles, where I'm the creepiest mortician ever.
Yeah, the podcast is coming. If you want to see a cross between, what do we go with? Wednesday Addams and like Lilu from Fifth Element in your delivery. It's the best.
Lilu.
Guys, wait for we'll see you tomorrow night here, 7 to 9. We're gonna go raid our good buddy Mike, because he was the one that did provide us with a mic of Bat Dragons last episode. So let's go ahead and join him. Go ahead and raid him. But I want to see you guys back here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern. Enjoy 24 more hours.
This was good. I watched that.
Yeah, enjoy 24 hours of 2018, because we're going to be back in 1933 tomorrow. We love you lots. Bye-bye.